It is good to see you all again. I do enjoy seeing you. Thank you for coming. And welcome to this 5-day seminar in Coolangatta, which is, would you like to know where Coolangatta is? Right, Coolangatta, Queensland, is on my right, from where I'm sitting, and New South Wales is on my left, and the state border runs just between the legs of my chair. Amazing, isn't it? We're right on the border, and they call this, that's why they call this Twin Towns, because it's between Tweed in New South Wales and Coolangatta in Queensland, and they call it Twin Towns. And it's the middle of winter here. Temperatures 18 degrees at this moment outside. Quite nice, not too bad. Especially if you come from abroad, and I understand there's about 30 people from abroad. So if you go see anyone in short sleeves, I do see them around. They'll be from Europe, I should think, where it's midsummer, which I presume is about 18, 19 degrees. Yes, okay. Okay. Now, the most important thing in your life and in my life is to find God. And that is said to be to realize God. And that, in my own knowledge, is to have the knowledge of God every moment without interruption within this body. So that's what I'm going to talk about for the next hour. And that's quite surprising that I'm going to talk about this for the next hour, and I'll tell you why. Because God is nothing. So I'm going to be talking about nothing for the next hour. Do you want to leave? And God is not nothingness. Because someone asked me for some reflection on some question the other day to put on their internet site. So Sarah got up the internet site for me. I can't do those sort of things. And there I see he's got numbers of teachers and spiritual masters and quotations from them. And often you see the word nothingness. Now, God is not nothingness. That is a wrong use of the word. N.E.W. is a mean or is an endeavour to communicate to someone who is not nothing. It's trying to communicate something to someone that's not nothing, and you can't do that anyway. So if ever you're talking of God and you realise God inside of you, which I trust you will have done by the end of these 5 days, God is nothing. And God is within you, now and every moment. Which means, of course, that if there's something within you now that's not God, and let's take the most extreme example of having something within you, and that is to have negativity within you. And negativity is doubt, fear, resentment, frustration, anger, jealousy, this feeling of missing out, loneliness, and particularly self-doubt. All those negatives create a disturbance in the body, which is emotion. Emotion moves. And therefore, you are not still in the body. If you have any of that negativity in you, active in you, because you can't be nothing, know nothing, realize nothing, while you have something moving inside of you, which is always emotion. I trust you are following me in your own experience and not listening to me as though I were a lecturer, for I am not a lecturer. I am a lover of God, a being of God, and a knowledge of God. And I only speak in your experience. And if you have not experienced nothing yet, and I say that you have experienced nothing, but you keep covering it up with your thoughts, which are also a disturbance, and emotions. You keep covering up any wonderful moments of nothing. With disturbance. And then you cannot have the knowledge that you are nothing or have realized nothing. But I say that all of you have realized or known nothing, but you can't keep to it because you keep being true to your feelings, your emotions, because all feelings are emotions. And while you are true to your feelings, you've got a secondary God in you, moving you. You know how feelings move you to do this, to do that, or move you inside to think, move you inside to be angry, resentful, jealous, envious. That's your feelings. Obviously, you can't be nothing and have any feelings. There are, of course, feeling, true feeling, which is if somebody steps on your body's toe, hard, you get a feeling. And that's legitimate feeling, isn't it? Without that, you'd be insensate. And we are sensory creatures, sentient creatures. That's a true feeling. Like a pain in the ear is a true feeling. But we don't have to make a feeling of it, because it's already a feeling. We don't have to get emotional about it. The pain in the ear, the stamp on the foot. We don't have to get emotional and make a feeling of the direct pain that sometimes comes upon the body. To make an emotion of it is to think about it. The more you think about your pain, the worse the pain gets. The more emotional you get, then you start worrying about what it is. Why don't you go to the bloomin' doctor or someone who can help you? Take some action. Stop thinking about it. Take some action. Find yourself getting emotional. Be true. Why? Stop thinking about it. For God's sake, stop thinking about it, because that'll make you have feelings. Look at the action you can take. And there's always action you can take. Sometimes the action is to do nothing, but only after you've looked to see that there's no action that you can take at the present time. Action not feelings, please. Action, not emotions, thanks. So God is nothing. You cannot make a concept of nothing. The unfortunate truth is, or the unfortunate fact is, and the truth, that whenever I speak to the people in my books and my tapes, my videos and my meetings, people make concepts of what I say. And as soon as you make a concept of something, you make a structure of it. You take it out of context, and then it worries you. Then you write to me and ask me some silly question because you've taken something that I say out of context. Instead of what? What do you do instead of making concepts of what I say? First of all, you look at it in your experience as I'm speaking and see, is this the truth, what he's saying? You don't go back and try to remember it. You listen to every word I'm saying. Is it the truth in my experience? And if you do that and listen to me rightly and read me rightly, then you will get the idea. Getting the idea is not a concept. Getting the idea is getting the whole of it, which doesn't have concepts in it. So concepts are made from a wrong impression of the idea. You can get it. You're intelligent. You're as intelligent as I am. The only thing is that you still have feelings. You still form concepts. You still believe things. You still believe in people. You still believe in many things. And while you believe in anything, you're going to make a concept of it. The thing is to get the idea. Don't we say that to the child when we're endeavoring to teach it something? And by the grace of God, it is possible to communicate to another intelligence as long as we're speaking rightly and straightly and not emotionally. It's possible to communicate the most complex idea to a child. The idea, you'll notice. And you say, by his response or her response, you say, you've got it. You've got the idea. That's great. And someone could say, have I? You don't even know you got the idea, because knowing comes of the mind, comes of the conceptual mind. The mind only knows concepts, doesn't know anything else. Works off concepts, works off impressions, works off feelings. Whereas you get the idea. Have you got the idea of life? You're going to make a concept of it? Think about the birds and trees, the animals, the people, and say, oh yes, I've got the idea of life. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You've made a concept of it. You've made an object of it. People, him, her, animals, you've made a concept of it, an object of it. It's not true. To get the idea of life is to say, I am life. I am life forever. I am life forever and ever. I got the idea, you see, of life. Nothing can take it from me, not even death. Are you getting the idea from me? You're intelligent. I can communicate to your intelligence. As long as you're not feeling, as long as you're not constructing, as long as you're not conceiving, of concepts. It requires you to be simple. It requires you to be, can we say, absent? Oh, yes. For you will never realize nothing unless you are absent. Now, this seems like a paradox, doesn't it? How can I be absent and still here? Well, there's no doubt. Whatever you realize, your body will still be here. It doesn't matter to what realms of inner insight you might go into. You will return to your body. For your body is not a concept. It is a wonderful, glorious, created idea in sense. Wonderful. Created by God. Wonderful thing. Magnificent thing. It's so magnificent, if you get the idea, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's so magnificent that you can't help but wonder in amazement how it works so well. How it withstands all the trials of experience which you have put into it since you were born. The ups and downs, the narrow escapes, the accidents, the illnesses, the diseases, and all the rest of it. And yet, it's still going on. A wonderful, wonderful idea. But it's not nothing, is it? So it's not God. It's made by God, which is creativity itself, pure creativity. It is made by God, but it dies. So it's not God. And it's nothing. It's not nothing. But what a wonderful thing your body is, and my body is. Eh? How wonderful. How wonderful my body has served me. You can't know at your age what I'm saying really, because you see, I'm 74. And my body has been magnificent and is magnificent because it allows me to exist. And although I find existence the most horrible place in the entire, if I could say it, universe, this world is existence, my body in the midst of it is magnificent, wonderful, as your body is. As long as there's no self in it, no feeling in it, no wanter in it, no trier in it, no discontenter in it. Is it possible to be my body straight and true? Is it? Yes, of course it is. But I have to be absent. Ah, now we come to it. Well, what is this absence? I have to be absent of anger, resentment, jealousy, trying, competing, wanting, hoping, wishing, and all the rest of those things. Oh my goodness. Have I destroyed you and just left your body there? That's it. That's it. You got to go. You got to be dissolved. What you call yourself has got to go. And you got to be left with just a body, like I am. I'm just a body. That's all. Oh, I do have a self. Everybody has a self in existence. It doesn't matter how highfalutin they claim their realization is. Everybody has a self. Because the self is the product of experience. Just follow me, won't you? Don't get bamboozled by my words. They're very straight words. Myself is the product the thing that's in my body, is the product of experience. And if I am 28, I've had 28 years of experience, so myself has had 28 years, myself is 28 years of experience. 38 years of experience. And so it goes on, 50, 60, 70 years of experience, 80, all experience. And there is nothing wrong with experience, obviously, because it is a fact. You cannot live. The baby, as soon as it's born, is getting experience. So you can't deny anything that is a fact. You can only deny what's not a fact, and your feelings are not factual, not true, not real, not at all. So this self, it's just pure experience. What's wrong with that? Nothing. I mean, you know from experience to look both ways crossing the road. You don't have to think about it unless you stick to that one. Look left, look right, look left again. And if you go to America, you're in real trouble like I was. Look right, look left, look right. Anyway, you get the idea. But you don't have to do that because you don't have to remember the rote, the thing that you've learned. Your body just does it. And you cross. And all the various things that you do, knives and forks. You know how difficult it is to train a child to eat a knife and fork? Oh, don't you? Well, I do. I'm sure you do. They get so exasperated, and so do you. But eventually, from the experience, they're like you and me. Right? You can just use it any way you like. And if they handed you a chopstick and you hadn't had the experience, you wouldn't know what to do with it and say, no, I'll have the knife and fork, please. But if you're in China and you're using chopsticks from experience, from youth, you'd say, no knife and fork for me, no the chopstick, please. You see? And you just do it like that. So that's the value of experience. You don't have to think about it, do you? What is this thinker? It is yourself. You're unruly, troublesome, tiresome self. Everybody at times feels so burdened, so unhappy. You must see it from time to time. Or you must be it from time to time, if you are. And what are you burdened with? Nothing but yourself. So am I burdened with my experience? No, no, no. Experience is holy. You can't avoid it. So what am I burdened with? If experience is right as self, then what's self that starts to get tiresome and unhappy and burdensome? It is because I hold on to my experience. I remember my experience. I go over my experience as myself. And so my thinking, emotional self clings to experience, re-experiences by lying at bed at night, re-experiencing, thinking about the good old days, or thinking about the not so good old days or the horrible days. And so I regurgitate. To regurgitate means to vomit in vulgar language. So I vomit all inside myself, thinking about the past. And when I do that, I am attached to the past. And because I am attached to the past, myself is no longer holy, because I think about my experience, whether it be a former lover, my mother or my father, my children, anything. To think about anything is to regurgitate, to vomit inside myself. And so that vomit becomes myself, my feelings. I've lost the pure knowledge of experience, and I got this vomit in me. of myself, which starts making decisions for me from its feelings, instead of making decisions from the fact, from what I see to be the fact, what action I can take, with my intelligence instead of my feelings. For you're all intelligent. You're all capable of seeing where you're going in the street so you don't knock into anything. Well, that's an aspect of intelligence, isn't it? But then you keep making the same old mistakes through yourself. Inside, you keep running into things. You keep running into your past, your concepts of past experience, your impressions of past experience, of old lovers, of how your mother and father mistreated you. What a load of old crap. You always look for the negative, don't you? You're always looking for the negative. Oh, mum and dad did mistreat me. Dad left me at 6 with mum. Dad left me at 2 years old with mum. Well, why do you hang on to it? Why don't you let Dad go? Why don't you let it all go? What are you hanging on to? You're hanging on to yourself, to your misery, to your burden. You can't be your pure experience, which is knowledge, becomes an instinct. And you know how the animals perform so beautifully and instinctively without thought. From the knowledge, the sacred knowledge of instinct. And so your experience becomes a secondary instinct in your life. You don't have to think about it. So why don't you just be your experience, which is nothing to speak of, and your body? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just be where you are at any time? Stop thinking, stop giving in to your feelings, because they're all untrue, and just enjoy the ability to see while you can, because one day you mightn't be able to. Might you? Oh, the ability to hear, because one day you mightn't be able to, might you? But we can't make a negative of it. Why don't you just be the positive of seeing and hearing and sensing? Without having this self in between, interpreting things for you. You don't need an interpreter, but you've made one, you've got one inside of you, called yourself, that is no longer pure experience. So yourself has become unruly, boisterous, cruel, unhappy, dangerous to you. Because you've allowed it to occupy your body for so long. So you can't be nothing while you allow this self to run your life and run your body. Can you? Because yourself is a troublesome thing. Someone's only got to mention mother, and bang, yourself reacts in some way, or father, or job, or money. Up it comes. Starts to disturb. Because it's been running your life like that. In other words, you've lost your equilibrium. Equilibrium is a God-given thing. Like now. I trust that you're in equilibrium now. I've been speaking to you long enough for your intelligence, to dissolve the world that you brought inside with you, and to be unburdened, to be easy, to be simple, to be seeing with your eyes, hearing with your ears, feeling with your touch feeling or whatever it is, and just being here. Nothing in between. No need to interpret what I'm saying because you're getting the idea without having to think about it, without having to interpret one thing I'm saying, because you are intelligent and because the truth of what I'm saying is inside you now, and all I do is speak to that truth inside you, not to your mind, not to your silly emotions, not to your silly self. Now be easy. Be easy. It's all just seeing, hearing, tasting, sensing. Right? Saw that? Good? Okay. Now, so we've talked about the something, the feelings and emotions that stop us from being nothing. Now, what about the nothing? You should be more nothing now than you were when you came in, because I'm nothing. If I was something, I wouldn't be able to speak to you like I do. And I'm the same as you. Only I'm nothing. I'm not a slave to my emotions or my thoughts, my feelings, no. I have all the experience inside of me which allows me to speak, just like you. You can't speak as a child until you've had the experience of speaking, can you? But I'm not attached to it. I enjoy it. Speech should be enjoyed. You shouldn't have to do anything that you don't enjoy. But it's because we do things that we don't enjoy that you get unhappy, isn't it? But why do things you don't enjoy? Why? Because you must. Because you have to. Oh, well. Someone got the key and locked you up. Turned the key. But you can't do anything about it. Or could it be that sometimes in certain situations you can't do anything about it because you don't want to do anything about it because you can't do anything about it? Of course those situations exist. Then why fight? Why struggle? Why try? Why not just do what you've got to do there, instead of interpreting it as something that you don't want to do when you're certainly not really locked up at all? Now I want you to close your eyes, please. And for years now, I have been endeavoring to get the people into a place within them which is still and silent, into the state of being. And that is done, first of all, by entering the body with your attention or your intelligence and focusing on the body within. There it is, you're never without your body, so you focus on it within. And you focus on the pure sensation. Pure sensation is the sensation of the legitimate body. It's not the sensation or the supposed sensation of emotions, of the emotional body. So don't get them mixed. Pure sensation is like the sensation in your hands, your legs, your chest, which is all natural. Pure sensation, and you put your intelligence on that, and gradually the sensation disappears and you enter a state of not knowing anything, which is the state of being. But you don't know it's the state of being, because if you knew it was the state of being, you'd know something. And then it wouldn't be being. So today I'm going to give you something else to make this nothing more not substantial, not substantive, which is what's behind the substantial, something that is located in your body, but which is nothing, so that you can walk around being in this place with your attention, with your focus, with your intelligence, and you can be nothing. And the more you do this, the more you will get the idea of what it is to be nothing. You won't get the idea of being God, although you can realize God, but you can't be God. And this is the way in to nothing. So open the eyes now, please, remaining in that nice state where you are. Now the solar plexus is the one place in your body which is demonstrably, in time, the place of nothing. You mustn't get any feelings in the solar plexus mixed up with the feelings in the stomach or the feelings in the chest, which are emotional. You actually have a hole, a real hole, right through you in the solar plexus. The more you focus on that, the more you get the idea of being nothing. Like now. Now the solar plexus, of course, is in that very tender place under the breastplate, the little bay in the breastplate, just under that, in there. And that's the place in the body which is nothing, which you can access with your intelligence. Don't get mixed up with any sensation that's there. The sensation is the sensation of existence. And as your body exists, and your solar plexus is in your body, so your solar plexus exists in your body, but for a while you'll get the sensation there of the existence, although it's very, very fine. But it will disappear as your intelligence enters in stillness, the solar plexus. Like now. See, we might have formed a concept of something, or a structure of being, mightn't we? Of focusing on the pure sensation and all that I've told you before. Now you've got to really break that down and come on. Focus on the solar plexus, which is nothing. You've got a big hole in you. I don't know whether there are any sweets called lifesavers in Australia anymore, are there? They used to have holes in them, right in the centre, like the polo mints in England. or wherever you come from, there are these mints, aren't they, with the hole in them? Well, that's what you are. You're a walking mint. Got a big hole in you. Now, cruel and angry people have a hole in them. And that's the hole of hatred, the hole of revenge, the hole of dislike. And that's a hole that can never be filled. And that's why they're cruel and angry and can't help it. Because they're always trying to fill the hole and they can't. But this is the opposite to that hole. This is a hole that goes on and on and on. Your solar plexus. Now stay there. There's no thought in it. There's no feeling in it. It's just what it is. An emptiness. Not an emptiedness, I mean. That's another thing that you find on the internet that I was looking at by these many teachers. They talk about emptiness. And I tell you, it's not emptiness, it's emptiedness. See, emptiness is a place that you know of when you're in despair and you're without hope and you're desolate and you're empty. Whereas emptiedness is to be emptied like a bottle of all that's inside of you, to be emptied. And you can't be emptied by yourself. You can only be emptied by the grace of God to nothing. If you worship it enough or love it enough, it will empty you. And you will not speak of emptiness, you will speak of emptiedness. For it is grace that emptied me, not I. And that's all in your solar plexus, which is the whole of your body. You can have it either way, H-O-L-E or W-H-O-L-E, the nothing that you are. You know, in this teaching, since I began teaching publicly 18 years ago, publicly, or 20 or 24 years ago, to people that came to me, I started off by endeavoring to get people to enter their body. It was so rare in those days. I know everybody knows all about it now, but in those days people did not know what it was to be in their body. Like all the people out there, they don't know what it is to be in their body unless they've been to some teachers or something. I had to get them into their body. I had to say, what are you feeling? They weren't allowed to make any statements at anything, but they had to tell me, what do you feel? And you'd be surprised if you asked someone in those days, what do you feel? You often get the question, what do you mean? They didn't know that they felt anything except anger or emotions. What do you feel? What do you mean? Well, look inside your body. What do you feel? Nothing. That's not true. There's always a feeling there, a true feeling. What do you feel? I had to go around this all the time. I used to have about 20 in the meditation group. We used to meet every Wednesday night, and they'd come for years. And gradually I got them in their bodies. That was the first thing I had to do. And from there I had to take them into the vastness of love, the vastness of the origins of the universe, the vastness of God, the vastness of truth, and gradually expand them into being. Because you might remember or not to recall that I introduced the Course in Being. And I went around the world with the Course in Being to get people to start to get an idea of being rather than being anything. Because we're always being something. We're being a doctor, we're being a therapist, we're being a computer expert, we're being something or other, or we're being this or being that. We're always being something. But I had to endeavour to introduce them to being. Being nothing. But it was still being, wasn't it? And then after a few years of that, I started to say, look, we're finished with the Course in Being, let's just be. And that's where you've been until now. And now I tell you, it is time not to be nothing. It is time to focus on nothing. And I've given you a place to focus on it, where it is in your body, because your body is a magnificent symbol of everything that is real and true and right. So now you know where to focus your intelligence. And the amazing thing is about the truth, and there is only one I in the universe where I come from. And you, whoever calls yourself I, you are the centre of the universe, and you are the only I in the universe. Now I know the whole of the perceived wisdom of existence, and the scientists and every learned person will tell you that's rubbish, but I tell you there is only one I in the universe, and it is you who call yourself I. You are the centre of the universe. You are the only I, the only intelligence in the universe. You are that. And that's the wonder of it. So speaking from where I am the only I in the universe. So when I started to speak to all those people so many years ago, 2 decades ago, and started to introduce them into the body, because I am the only I in the universe, I started to do it to all the people. For what I do, for one, I do for all, because I am true, because I am God realized, and I love God and am God, and this is myself who loves God speaking. So it was much easier for people who came to me 2 years ago to pick up what I was saying without having to go through all that those early people had gone through, the struggle, the difficulty in getting into their bodies, in seeing the truth, in getting the idea. The people that come to me now don't have to do all that, because it has been done. And the people who come to me, they are informed, because by the way of things I am responsible for a small segment of the human race. And they are the people that have come to me. The many thousands of them all around the world have come to me through my books and tapes. They don't have to do all the work that those early people had to do, because inasmuch as it's done for them, it's done for you. And inasmuch as you have done what you've done, you do it for the people who come to me in this teaching, which is unique and rare. You are the centre of the universe. And if you are not holy, or to the degree that you are holy, so you will find your life is holy. As you are the centre, everything emanates from you. Or is this too much? Is this too much to bear? Is it too much responsibility, too much to carry, that you are responsible for everything? As you are, you make your world. And the holier you are, in the sense of more W-H-O-L-I-E-R, the holier you are as being the one, the I that I am, the true I, which eventually is God within you. So that emanates right through your life, through the people that you meet, through the people that you don't meet, through the circumstances, through everything. You are the center of the universe. As I am. Isn't it a magnificent mystery that each one of us is the center, because you are the center of your life. There's no other life but your life. It doesn't matter what the life of the person next to you. It is not your life. There is only one life, and it is yours. You are the center of it all. And to the degree that you live that life rightly and truly, and discover more and more the mystery and the secret of what it is to be holy, in the sense of to get rid of the ignorance of the self, which runs your life most of the time, until you start to dissolve it, until one day it lays down and says, I love what thou art. I love thee. That's your own self says it inside to the God that you are inside. And then you don't have any more trouble with yourself, because it is in a holy worship of you. That which was the errant one, which was the troublemaker, the boisterous one that led you into so many feeling decisions which were all wrong and got you into trouble. It surrenders and says, I love thee. I will do anything for thee. I want nothing but thy will be done. And it is speaking to the only I in the universe which is in that body and is in this body. Because this is my life. You are part of my life. As I am part of yours. You see the mystery of it. This is the great creativity of the great God. That such a thing can be, if you can only get the idea, instead of making a concept of it. Like the scientists make a concept of everything, and misuses and confuses and misuses. If you would only stick to the truth. I am the center of it all, but only to the degree can I be an influence for rightness and truth and love, and bring and change the circumstances around me. To the degree that I am true to God, which means true to what I am in my deepest place. And that is in your solar plexus. Now, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about anything. You must not think about what I've said. You just do what I've said if it is true for you. There it is. To be as nothing. The solar plexus is the portal, the door to something extraordinary. But first you must be able to face the portal, face the door. Like now. And get the idea more and more of nothing. Thank you all. Time for afternoon tea. So let's have a cup of tea. Yes, Kate?
Start again at 3:30.
Start again at 3:30. Thank you.